What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my Metaphor ReFantazio early game guide. If you haven't heard about Metaphor ReFantazio, it's the latest RPG from the creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5, and is out now for Microsoft PC and Xbox. Thanks to Atlus and Sega for sponsoring this video. Now, let's talk some strategy. In today's video, I just want to throw some quick tips your way, as Metaphor has some mechanics you might not be used to, and even if you are an Atlus Pro, you might have missed some things in the opening hours, so a little refresher doesn't hurt. First tip, right off the bat, is our hero, the traveling boy. What stats should you pick for him? This is, of course, personal preference, but as I'm pretty far into the game now, I can confidently say strength is a great stat, and I do not regret specializing it. When choosing what you want your protagonist to specialize in during the army interview segment, say, I'm stronger than I look. I can't go into detail in this video exactly why I believe this, but traditionally, dumping all of your stats into either strength or magic, and a little bit endurance here and there, has universally been viable in this studio's prior games. So if you can't decide, let me just vouch for strength. It's great. Just really the only way you can mess up is if you spread your stats around evenly, as characters don't really benefit from that in the long run based on my experience. And if anything, having one character that specializes in one type of offense is unique and will save you a lot of time in the early game. Now let's talk about buffs and debuffs. Use them! They're really helpful. This is the biggest thing for new players to get a grasp on, but they are the most valuable skills in the game, hands down. In Metaphor ReFantazio, buffs stack up to 3 times, increasing in severity, but instead of doing 3 Tarakajas back to back to back, instead, spread out the usages so you can conserve your resources. When a buff is about to go away, you can refresh it on the 3rd turn and save yourself from burning through all your items or MP. Buffs increase your damage by a flat percentage, which might not seem like a big deal on paper, but trust me, you will be using buffs and debuffs for your entire playthrough, so might as well form a good habit at the very start. The fast mechanic is the name for the battles before the turn-based battles in Metaphor ReFantazio, and unlike other RPGs, your weapons matter. Like a lot. The Archetypes might be the flashy main damage dealers, but do not underestimate the damage you can deal during the fast segments. Depending on your currently equipped archetype, the hero will wield different weapons, and these weapons have different movesets you will have to get used to. Your allies also pop up when participating in fast segments, but their involvement is not guaranteed. So if you find a really strong weapon, you might want to try equipping an archetype that can use it on your main character, so you get enemies stunned faster before the battle begins. Initially, I really underestimated this damage, and when I shifted to using my strongest weapon on my hero, the early game got way more manageable. And if you're looking for a powerful weapon, you are in luck. There is one at the very start of the game. The dragon is guarding it in the Nord Mines. It's intimidating, but absolutely doable, even with only 2 party members. I got the video. I can show you. My biggest tips for taking down the dragon are to bring 2 mage archetypes, and also to battle a few slimes, also found in the cave, for the corrosive acid item. This can be used in battle to lower the dragon's defenses for 3 turns, and if you acquire 3 of these items, and you have mages that have the Blizz skill, the boss should go down with relative ease, gifting you a very powerful weapon for the first dungeon. Speaking of archetypes, you may be wondering which ones should you specialize in. Is it better to spread your archetype EXP around or stick with one? And based on my experience, in-game you want to max their ranks out as soon as you can. And don't be afraid to use an archetype that already has reached max rank. There are enough sources of archetype EXP to go around. I will recommend, though, you try your best to use different archetypes on different characters, so they do not share an elemental weakness. If you have 4 mages, guess what? They're all going to be weak to the same thing, and that can spell disaster. Also, Metaphor ReFantazio is not the type of game where you are heavily punished for not having the foresight to specialize in one specific archetype. In the early game, they each rank up super quickly, so you have plenty of time to figure out your team comp and what you want each of your characters to specialize in. And now, let's talk dungeons. Once you reach the first main story-based dungeon, try your best to clear it in a single day. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on various factors, but trust me, Save your game before entering and do your best to clear out all the obstacles in one go. Metaphor ReFantazio functions on a calendar system, and time is finite. The first story dungeon is very manageable, even on hard, and you'll greatly benefit from taking it out in one go. This will give you good momentum for the rest of your playthrough, and if possible, try to get a healer archetype to rank 10 while you're in there. You'll thank me later. And that'll just about do it for my quick tips guide. Hope you all are having fun with Metaphor ReFantazio, and if you haven't picked the game up yet, what are you doing? Click the first link in the description to get yourself a copy today. That's all from me. Make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video, coming real soon. Bye.